I met Ryan the second week of college. He was one of those guys everyone instantly liked. Easygoing, charming, funny without trying too hard. I was quieter, the kind of person who listened more than I talked. But for some reason, he took a liking to me. Maybe it was because we balanced each other out. His loudness softened by my calm, my hesitation pulled forward by his confidence. We clicked over something stupid, an argument about whether pineapple belongs on pizza. I said it was fine. He said it was culinary blasphemy. We ended up talking for 2 hours about food, music, and life. From then on, it was like we'd known each other forever. College was the kind of chaos that makes and breaks people. We shared a dorm, then an apartment off campus the following year. We pulled all-nighters, skipped classes together, helped each other survive heartbreaks. He was there when my dad had his first heart attack, sitting with me in the waiting room even though he had a midterm the next morning. "You're like a brother to me, man," he said one night when we were drunk on cheap whiskey and nostalgia. "Yeah," I said, meaning it. "Same." Back then, I couldn't imagine a life where Ryan wasn't part of it. Her name was Emily. She wasn't the first woman I dated, but she was the first who made everything else fade into the background. She had this quiet intensity about her, soft-spoken, but her eyes never missed a thing. Ryan met her a few weeks after I did. I introduced them at a game night at our place. He gave her that smile, the one he used when he wanted people to like him, and she smiled back politely, but her attention stayed on me. After that night, Ryan started teasing me constantly about her. "You're in deep, bro," he'd say. "She's got you wrapped." Maybe I was, but I didn't care. For the first time in my life, I felt like I'd found someone who saw me. Ryan was part of our lives, dinners, parties, weekend trips. Emily liked him, at least at first. He made her laugh, and I liked that. I wanted my best friend and my girlfriend to get along. But there were moments that felt off, like the time Emily told me, "Ryan asks a lot of personal questions." "Like what?" I asked. "Just, about us, about how serious we are, whether we fight, stuff that's none of his business." I brushed it off then. "He's just being nosy," I said. But deep down, something small and uneasy began to stir. The shift started slowly. Ryan got weirdly competitive, not in sports or grades, but in life. If I bought a new jacket, he'd buy the same one in a more expensive brand. If Emily and I went on a trip, he'd accidentally book one with his girlfriend to the same spot the next month. Then one night at a party, he joked loudly that Emily was too good for me. Everyone laughed, even Emily, but I saw the flicker in her expression. That tiny flash of discomfort before she forced a smile. "Dude, what was that?" I asked later. He shrugged. "Relax, man, I'm just joking. Don't be so sensitive." It became a pattern. Ryan would say something cutting, then hide behind humor. He'd tell me things Emily supposedly said, harmless comments that somehow always made me doubt her a little. At first I thought I was paranoid, but then I started noticing that some of the things I told him, things I only told him, were finding their way into conversations with other people. A friend would mention something I'd said about my dad's health, or a coworker would ask if I was still having money issues. Something only Ryan knew. When I confronted him, he brushed it off again. "Man, I might have mentioned something accidentally. You know how I talk too much." I wanted to believe that, but I knew better. Emily started withdrawing. I'd find her sitting quietly, scrolling on her phone, her eyes distant. When I asked what was wrong, she'd just say, "I don't know. You tell me." Eventually, I found out what she meant. It was a random Friday night. Ryan had texted her. Accidentally, he claimed. Something meant for someone else. Only it wasn't an accident. It was a message about me, about how controlling I was, about how she deserved someone better. That night, Emily came to me, shaking with anger. "I think Ryan's in love with me," she said. I didn't believe her. Not fully, not then. There's a moment when your world doesn't just break, it folds in on itself. For me, that moment came one rainy Thursday night. Emily had been distant for weeks. We barely spoke without arguing. The laughter, the warmth, the quiet intimacy that used to fill our small apartment, all gone, replaced by an invisible wall I couldn't climb over. That night she came home late. Her hair was damp, her coat dripping from the rain. I asked where she'd been. She said she'd been clearing her head. Something in her tone, detached, almost rehearsed, told me it wasn't true. I don't know what possessed me, but after she fell asleep, I checked her phone. I didn't even know what I was looking for. Maybe proof that my paranoia was wrong. Maybe evidence that I was still sane. Instead, I found messages, hundreds of them. Ryan. He wasn't just talking to her. He was flirting, complimenting her, reminiscing about college nights, the three of us together, saying things like, "I always knew you deserved better." There were voice notes too. His voice, low and confident, the same tone he used when he wanted to sound honest. "He doesn't see you, Em. He doesn't appreciate what you give." And her replies, they weren't innocent. "I don't know why I can't stop thinking about you. Sometimes I feel like you understand me more than he does." My chest tightened until I couldn't breathe. I sat there, phone in hand, watching everything I thought I knew dissolve into smoke. I confronted her the next morning. She didn't deny it. "It wasn't physical," she said. "That's supposed to make it better?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "He just listened." "You stopped." Her words were knives. "I stopped because you changed," I said, voice shaking. "Because he was whispering in your ear while pretending to be my friend." She said nothing, and that silence was worse than any confession. Ryan, my brother, my best friend, had been chipping away at my life one conversation at a time. After that day, everything blurred. I tried confronting Ryan. He laughed at first, thought I was bluffing. But when I showed him screenshots, the color drained from his face. "Man, you're overreacting," he said. "We were just talking. She needed someone to talk to." I hit him, once, hard enough to make my hand ache for days. He didn't hit back. He just smiled, that smug, soulless smile, and said, "You know, you're proving her point." I walked away before I did something worse. Emily and I tried to work through it. That's what couples do, right? Try. But trying felt like pretending to breathe underwater. Every dinner was heavy with unspoken resentment. Every word was brittle. Eventually she left, said she needed space. Ryan? He vanished from my life completely, blocked me on everything, moved away a few months later. But before he did, he left a scar. I started noticing people around town whispering when they saw me. Friends who used to greet me stopped calling. Even co-workers seemed uncomfortable. One day one of them slipped and mentioned something only Ryan could have told them, about Emily's miscarriage. Something deeply private, something we'd never shared. He told everyone, not just about Emily, about me, my insecurities, my struggles, my family. Every piece of my life I'd ever trusted him with, weaponized and scattered. The isolation that followed was brutal. Nights stretched endlessly. I stopped eating properly. Sleep became a stranger. I deleted social media, stopped answering calls, stopped existing. I'd built my life around two people, and both had destroyed it. But there's something people forget about broken men. They either crumble completely, or they rebuild sharper. It took me 6 months to come back to myself. I moved to another city, new job, new apartment, same ghosts. Every morning I'd wake up, look in the mirror, and repeat the same words. He doesn't get to win. At first, revenge wasn't even the goal. I just wanted peace. But peace doesn't come easy when your name's been dragged through mud, when your ex-friend's lies have become your truth. I found out Ryan and Emily didn't last long. Apparently, he cheated on her too. Poetic, if you ask me. She moved back with her parents, and he stayed behind, playing the good guy, the victim of my anger issues. One night, out of sheer curiosity, I created a fake account on social media. Different name, different face. It wasn't hard to find him. He loved attention too much to disappear completely. He was still posting about success, about real friendship, and forgiveness. Forgiveness. That word made my skin crawl. He'd built his life on lies, and people believed him because he said them with a smile. But smiles fade, lies rot, and truth, when used properly, cuts deeper than vengeance. So I began collecting pieces, old messages, photos, screenshots, every bit of evidence of what he'd done, to me, to Emily, to others. I didn't know yet what I'd do with it, but I knew this. Someday, somehow, he would lose the thing he valued most, his image. And when that day came, I'd be there, not to gloat, not to hurt him physically, but to watch him crumble under the weight of his own deceit. Revenge wasn't about destruction anymore. It was about balance, about making the universe remember who started the fire.